I'm John Halley and I work for Share Energy Co-operative. I was employed to work around the region with community groups and try and see if there were opportunities to do renewable energy cooperatives. And I came to Found Hope and talked a little bit about some of the ambitions that the local Carbon Reduction Action Group had.
One of our members got particularly interested in the fact that there's a lot of woodland in this area. About 27% of the Woolhope Dome is wooded, and was thinking, well, surely there's some way in which some of this wood could be used to help people heating their homes.
And first of all, we were just thinking, well, you know, maybe there could be some sort of cooperative way of harvesting logs or something like that and providing people with fuel for their wood burners. But it sort of grew.
Talking together, we hatched a much more ambitious plan. We said, well, can we actually do this on a much bigger scale? Can we bring serious amounts of woodland back into management? And can we provide a heating solution for bigger organisations, bigger buildings, which is really low carbon and which maybe saves them money at the same time? And so the idea of Woolhope Woodheat was born. And that brings together three different things. One is the idea of a cooperative. So that already existed. The idea of biomass heating is as old as the hills, heating with wood. The third part of the mix is the idea of an energy services company. In this case, we're going to be putting boilers in people's premises. We own the boilers, we fuel the boilers. And what they buy from us is not the boiler, they don't buy the fuel, they buy the heat. So we're selling them energy directly.
Hi, I'm Martin Hales and I'm a member of the board of Woolhope Woodheat. I'm standing in a woodland which hasn't been managed for a long time. The trees that are standing here aren't very productive. They've been squirrel damaged, like this oak tree here beside me, so they're not very good for timber use. We've got a lot of ivy, which is a typical plant that does seem to do well in shady conditions, but that obviously prevents a lot of other flowers coming up through from the soil. So the process of removing timber and wood from a woodland like this and getting it back into management produces useful wood chip, and that's a relatively carbon neutral process, and the woodland will then regrow and that can be recycled and reused again and again in a very sustainable way. The woodland that you can see behind me has been managed by thinning. It's the first time this woodland's had any management for probably over 50 years. In the process of thinning, the multiple stems on the various oak and ash stumps have been reduced to one stem. And that's going to let a lot of light into the area and benefit the wildlife that's here. A crop of timber is taken from the wood using a chainsaw and fell the trees down to ground level as close as you can get them, and that will allow the stump to regrow the following spring. Some woodlands are in a fairly inaccessible place, and even today the old traditional methods of extracting timber using horses are still used in Herefordshire. What's going on behind me is a typical farm tractor small forwarder unit with a crane grab, and they're picking up the thinnings from far-viv wood and transporting them back to the yard for further processing. In the timber yard, we have the next step of the process. Once the timber's taken out of the woodland, it's stacked in these big piles and it's air dried for a while before a big chipper comes in and chips it all in a day, and the chipper then stored in a large barn where it further dries before being taken out to the end user client and the wood burners.
My name's Dr. Glyn Edwards. I'm Technical Advisor for the Woolhope Woodheat project. This is a typical design of wood chip store. It's built into a bank and front doors that open. To allow the delivery vehicle to just reverse up, stop against this concrete barrier and then tip directly into the store. After the chip's been tipped, chip doesn't flow, so you need an agitator mechanism in the bottom of the hopper to actually move the chip into the auger, which then goes into the boiler. This is a modern wood chip boiler. They've been developed to a very high level. This boiler here is as efficient, if not more so, than a modern condensing gas boiler. The auger, which is effectively an Archimedes screw, brings in the wood fuel into this apparatus here. Wood fuel drops into this area here, and again there is another screw which takes it into the base of the combustion chamber. The whole thing is controlled by an integrated controller, which controls not only the fuel feed rates but also the various different air streams to keep the boiler working at maximum efficiency. The combustion chamber itself is very simple. This boiler is ramped down at the moment. It can light automatically when needed. The ash is then taken away.
There are basically two deals that we're doing with our suppliers and our clients. So for the woodland suppliers, we're able to offer a decent price for wood that at the moment doesn't have a decent price attached to it. And this is the reason why those woodland owners are largely not managing their woodland in the way that it was managed in the past. On the other end of the scale, we've got a deal with our clients which says, well, we're going to supply them heat, we're providing them a boiler for free, and they will sign up for a contract for heat over a 20-year period effectively, and that heat will be cheaper, 20% cheaper than heat from fossil fuel sources, and a lot less embodied carbon.
My name is Ben Dodd, I'm the Development Manager at Woolhope Woodheat. One of my roles is visiting heat clients, and these could be schools, businesses, voluntary organisations that are willing to host a woodchip boiler. Good morning, it's Ben here from the Woolhope Woodheat.
Hi Ben.
Hiya.
Welcome.
Thank you very much. Come to have a look at your site and potential look at where the boiler might go.
Yeah, right, that's great.
Okay.
I'll show you around. Get an idea of what a huge building it is.
It is, yeah. What are you heating with at the moment then?
We've got a huge variety, so we've got some people using oil, some people using LPG, some people using electricity.
Right, so a real mixture.
Real mixture.
So we're looking to site the biomass boiler just here.
Right, okay, on the right here.
Yeah. By the goat shed.
Okay.
So we can tuck the container with the boiler and the wood chip silo just here.
You'd probably be looking at something like half a dozen deliveries of wood chip per year for the size of your houses, so not a huge intrusion to the community there. And yes, it's tucked away, so you won't see it. It's all right.
Great. We're an intentional community here at the Windflower Housing Association. There's 19 units, about 50 of us. We share a number of big buildings between us, and we need to be kept warm in a way that fits with our ethos of sustainable living. And I think that's one of the reasons why we've been particularly interested with this scheme.
And in a more efficient way than what we're doing at the moment. So a relatively small boiler will be providing heat for everybody. And some of us who've never had push-button heating are getting very excited about that prospect.
We think we're going to be using about 70 or 80 tonnes of wood chip a year to heat the 19 flats here. And we reckon that will save around 70 or 80 tonnes of carbon a year. And that is a really big plus for us because we're very keen on reducing our carbon emissions.
My name is Ben Boswell. I'm the Sustainability Team Leader for Herefordshire Council. We're currently looking at opportunities with the Woolhope Dome project, looking across all of our buildings to see which ones might have the opportunity for a biomass installation. There are a number of reasons to support projects such as this. Firstly, it's such a great economic opportunity. I mean, for us, it presents an opportunity to get biomass investment across our estate without any capital up front. You've got great environmental benefits on offer to the council and the wider community. Socially, it's a great opportunity for local people to really invest in something meaningful. I think the Woolhope Dome project is absolutely fantastic.
The great thing about a cooperative is that an organisation goes back to the 1840s, a very stable type of organisation which has democracy at its very core. So irrespective of how much money you put into a cooperative, you have one vote. It's a one member, one vote organisation. But we are able to do share offers which are open to members of the public. They become members of the cooperative, and then they get not only a say in the way that the cooperatives run, but they get a sensible annual return on their investment.
Yes, I suppose it is. Yeah.
We're looking at a situation right now where a lot of people do have money in savings accounts. Where is that money? That money might be overseas, it might be involved in things that they may not actually believe in. It's certainly not local, it's not part of a local economy. And what we aim to do with a share offer like this is to give people the chance to invest in something local and ethical that they actually have control over.
I think we decided we wanted to invest in the cooperative because we've looked for ethical investments as we've got to our retirement, and obviously you need to have some sort of return, but at the same time we do want to know what our money's being used for. And this is very much a situation where we will know that the benefits are to our local community in terms of employment, benefits of carbon reduction because of people switching from polluting oil to using the wood. And it just seems like a very positive thing to do with some of our savings.
And this project is really exciting to us because, as far as we know, it's the first cooperative in the UK that's going to do a community biomass project using the government's new renewable heat incentive. We've got to start thinking in a different way about our energy. Are we going to be importing all our energy from overseas, or are we going to be using what we actually have on our doorstep? And what we've done here, I think, is start to put into train something which is very relevant across the UK. We're catching up, as in so many other ways, with Europe here. And it's brilliant that it's starting from a small village, from a group of committed, concerned individuals who've put in all the effort, the time and indeed their own money into making this happen. And we think if it can happen here in the Woolhope Dome, there are a lot of other places in the UK where it could also happen.